Welcome back, class. For our third discussion, we'll be discussing an important aspect of the fundamentalist versus modernist controversy. We must keep in mind that according to course guidelines, historians must be objective and honest in their investigations. This is extremely important in the topic I will be discussing today, the Scopes Trial. The Scopes Trial was a major legal event that brought the fundamentalist versus modernist controversy to the public eye. The Monkey Trial, as it would be popularly known, brought forward the issue of teaching the theory of evolution in state-funded educational institutions. The trial was a result of the American Civil Liberties Union wishing to pursue a case against the recently passed Butler Act in 1925. John Scopes would be asked by local prominent leaders in Dayton, Tennessee, to admit to teaching evolutionary theory in his high school science class. Students then informed their parents of the teachings, claiming that they were being taught that they had evolved from monkeys, hence the popular alias for the trial. The trial would also bring some much-needed publicity for the small Tennessee town. It worked. The media outlets from all over the country descended upon Dayton to witness what would be the most important trial of the country relating to public education. There are even pictures of the trial being held outside due to the sweltering heat inside the non-air-conditioned courtroom. The popularity of the trial would be adopted into a screenplay in the Hollywood movie Inherit the Wind. The players in the case were also very popular public figures. William Jennings Bryan, a three-time presidential candidate, against Clarence Darrow, a famed defense attorney. The ACLU would fund the defense in an attempt to challenge the controversial Butler Act. The effects of the Scopes trial would have resounded with our educational proceedings to this day. Even though evolutionary theorists may have lost the trial, there is a case that can be made that they had won in the court of public opinion. The modernist public, both religious and secular, would side with Scopes on the basis of freedom of speech and the push towards truth supported by scientific evidence. Fundamentalists saw evolutionary theory as a threat to their biblical principles and sought out every avenue to discredit scientists and their new theories. The major flaw in the evolutionary theorist's argument was that the book, which was being taught in the classroom, was in question. The evolutionary theory section would bring up eugenics and present human evolution as a simplified hierarchical scale, which implied that a specific race was more advanced or evolved than others. Modern evolutionary theory describes a parallel version of the story in which all humans evolved from primates in different parts of the world, undisturbed from each other. However, this flaw was used by the fundamentalists, arguing that there was no supreme race or hierarchical scale of human beings because all humans were created equal by God. The effects of this trial would be far-reaching in time and space. Textbook publishers had to make a decision, which was mostly profit-based, on which information to publish in their product. Even though the courts eventually reversed the decision on the matter, the heavily Christian American public refused to accept evolutionary theory regardless of potential scientific evidence. Therefore, even though they may have won in the courts, evolutionary theorists found problems convincing publishers to include evolution in their textbooks. The demand for textbooks with evolution in them was low enough to where publishers omitted it altogether. They also shied away from the biblical story of creation in order to appease to the most broad base of customers, the modern student. They leave the teachings of creationism and evolution to more specific classes and textbooks that are not forced upon the students. Instead, students are free to choose a class or an institution which teaches to their religious beliefs. Whether you believe in the story of creation or evolutionary theory, you cannot deny the importance of the Scopes trial and what effects it had on American society. It is subjects like these that challenge us historians in finding the objective truth. I believe the Scopes trial has drawn more questions than it has provided answers. Questions that may never be answered in a definite manner. The fundamentalist versus modernist controversy has seemed to follow us into the issues we face today, continuing the debate on what we teach in the classroom, as well as what religious-based topics are supported by state-funded institutions. Thank you for listening in and learning a little bit more on the after effects of the Monkey Trial.